The day I won the lottery didn't feel loud or dramatic. There were no screams, no champagne, no phone calls to family. Just a quiet screen, a long pause, and a number so large my brain refused to process it at first. I checked it 3 times. Then again. Then I sat on the edge of my bed and waited for panic or excitement to hit. Neither did. What I felt instead was instinct, the kind that tells you to stay quiet. I didn't tell anyone. Not my parents. Not my sister. Not even my closest friend. I locked the ticket in a drawer, took a shower, and went to work like nothing had happened. On the outside, my life stayed exactly the same. On the inside, something had already shifted. I started paying attention. That same week, my sister called. She didn't ask how I was. She never did. She launched straight into a story about her rent going up, how unfair it was, how stressed she felt. She joked that if I ever got rich, I'd obviously help her first. I laughed lightly and said nothing. The silence on the line stretched longer than usual. Hey, if you enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit the bell. Your support means everything and helps me keep creating. Thank you so much. At Sunday dinner, my parents complained about money the entire time. The cost of groceries, gas, bills. My father sighed dramatically and said families were supposed to support each other, especially when some people were more successful than others. His eyes flicked toward me, then away, like he was testing something. I stayed neutral, ate quietly, listened. Over the next few weeks, the pattern sharpened. My sister started dropping hints instead of jokes. Screenshots of things she wanted, apartments she deserved. My mother began asking questions about my savings, my job, whether I'd thought about giving back. My father joked about moving in with me one day, laughed, then watched my face closely to see if I laughed too. That's when I knew staying silent had been the right choice, because nothing about their behavior suggested happiness for me. It felt like preparation, like they were warming up for something bigger, testing how much access they still had, measuring how easy it would be to reach into my life if there were more to take. I hadn't told them I won millions, and already they were acting like I owed them something I didn't even know they wanted yet. That's when I realized the real, when wasn't the money sitting quietly in an account I hadn't touched. It was the fact that I got to see them exactly as they were, before they knew there was anything to gain. The more time passed, the more obvious everything became. Once I stopped volunteering details about my life, my family filled the silence with assumptions. My sister assumed I was doing fine because I wasn't complaining. My parents assumed stability meant surplus. None of them asked how I felt. They asked what I had. My sister began calling late at night, always just to talk, but the conversations drifted the same way every time. She'd start with stress, move into frustration, then land on money, credit cards, car repairs, a vacation she'd already booked but couldn't really afford. Each story ended with a pause, like she was waiting for me to step into a role I'd played my entire life, the quiet fixer. I didn't. I listened. I nodded. I offered sympathy, never solutions. That's when the tone shifted. She became sharper, less patient. She'd joke that I was acting broke on purpose. My parents started backing her up. At dinner, my mother said it was strange how I never talked about money anymore. My father laughed and said secrecy usually meant someone had something to hide. I smiled and changed the subject. Behind the scenes, I did the opposite of what they expected. I hired a lawyer, then a financial advisor. I learned how to protect assets, how to set boundaries that couldn't be crossed with guilt or pressure. I paid off my own debts quietly. I moved money into places that didn't flash or beg for attention. And I watched. The real test came when my sister announced she was in serious trouble. She showed up at my place unannounced, eyes red, voice trembling, story polished. She needed help. Not a little. A lot. She said family was all she had. She said she'd do anything. She said she knew I had savings and that it wasn't fair for me to sit on them while she was drowning. That was the moment. I told her I couldn't help. Not because I didn't care. Not because I was cold. Simply because I wasn't able to. I kept my voice calm. Neutral. Final. She didn't cry. She snapped. She accused me of lying, of being selfish, of thinking I was better than her. She stormed out and called my parents before she even reached the door. Within an hour, my phone was lighting up. My mother said I'd changed. My father said money had made me arrogant, even though, to them, I still had none. They reminded me of everything they'd done for me. Every meal, every roof, every sacrifice. They said I owed them loyalty, support, proof that I was still part of the family. That's when it hit me. They didn't need to know I'd won the lottery to start treating me like an ATM. They just needed the possibility. And if this was how they acted when they only suspected I might have something, I could only imagine what would happen if they knew the truth. So I stayed quiet. I let them believe I was struggling. I let them believe I was disappointing. I let them believe there was nothing left to take. And in doing so, I learned something money couldn't teach me. Silence had already saved me once. Soon, it would save me again, on a much bigger scale. The moment everything broke wasn't dramatic. No shouting, no confrontation. Just one small lie that collapsed under its own weight. My sister told the family I had promised her money and backed out. She said I'd let her believe help was coming, then abandoned her. She said it casually, like it was already accepted as truth. My parents didn't ask me. They just stopped calling. That silence lasted months. During that time, my life quietly transformed. I moved. I changed my routine. I invested carefully. I donated anonymously. I helped strangers who never learned my name. I built a life that didn't revolve around being needed or approved of. Then one afternoon, I got a message from my father. Short, awkward. He asked if I was doing okay. Not because he cared, but because something didn't add up anymore. They'd heard things. Someone mentioned my new place. Someone else mentioned my work. My sister tried to dismiss it, but doubt had already crept in. The story she'd sold them no longer fit. They invited me to dinner. I went. Nothing was said directly, but the tension was thick. My sister watched me like she was waiting for a confession. My parents asked vague questions. I answered honestly, without details. Calm, polite, untouchable. When my mother finally asked why I pulled away, I told the truth. I said I stopped feeling safe. I said I realized love in our family came with conditions. I said money only revealed what was already there. No numbers, no bragging, no reveal. I didn't need them to know I had millions. They already knew they had lost control. After that night, things changed. The guilt trips stopped. The demands disappeared. The entitlement faded into something quieter, regret, maybe, or fear of what else they'd misjudged. They never asked how much I had. I never offered, because the best decision I ever made wasn't winning the lottery. It was keeping my mouth shut long enough to see who would still stand beside me when they thought there was nothing to gain. And the truth is simple.